Hi, my name's Itali, and in this video I'll be drawing a character in a sobbing expression. This is a time-lapse video, so it does contain fast-moving and flashing images. At the start of this year, I asked my Discord community what they wanted to see more of, and Zempa said expressions. So I decided to challenge myself with this expression challenge, and I was going to roll randomly and choose an expression and then choose a character in which I thought would suit that expression in a scene which they would be naturally a part of. That was my grand idea, and then I got super busy. I actually drew this back in February, but I'm only now just doing the recording for it, and I've had no time to do any more of them, which has made me a little bit sad because I thought this was a really good idea, and it is something I don't do enough of. I don't do enough expressions. They're all kind of the same, just, I don't know, slightly sneaky face expressions if I'm left to my own devices. And I was really proud of how this came out. So I was kind of excited to do more expressions, but it just hasn't panned out the way I wanted it to. Hopefully in the second half of the year, I'll get some more free time and I'll be able to do more of these. Certainly when things quieten down, I will be rolling on that table and seeing what other expressions I'll be drawing. But for this one, I did get the sobbing expression, as you would have seen at the start of the video. And so I decided to draw my OC Wings of Fire character that I do have a video of drawing the character design of, and there's a whole video talking about the story that's involved with this character. But essentially this is a Nightwing Sandwing hybrid character, and the basics of the story is that they have a brother who's like magical, and they're like trap them as a human, and then they fall in love with a human, and the human doesn't know they're a dragon, and then they do find out they're a dragon in a moment where he has to be transformed back into a dragon, and everything falls apart. And this is basically that scene. So after he's been revealed, and he basically loses the love of his life because they were a bit shocked, to say the least, to find out that the person that they'd been living with all this time was not a person at all, but a dragon. And dragons are still, this is sort of like the era of Wings of Fire, where humans, or scavengers as they are called in the books, are eaten or tormented by dragons. So not often do you choose a dragon to be your dating partner. So yeah, that's the kind of context behind this picture, and I wanted the whole picture to sort of embody the mood and the feeling of the character. So I wanted to draw the character sort of like hunched over, like they couldn't, they were so upset about everything, they couldn't do anything else but sort of stand and cry. And I wanted this really sort of, I wanted a warm, but like, I don't know, like a tensionish sort of, I don't know how to explain this. I wanted this background, essentially. I wanted this color palette. I wanted there to be a harsh light coming from somewhere so that the main character was mostly in shadow, to sort of emphasize the mood of everything. Like it almost looks like things are on fire, and I guess for the character, the whole world is burning down, but it's just a sunset. So that's what I was sort of thinking as I was drawing this picture. I just wanted everything to sort of tie in together, and that's the idea I want to have for all of the pictures I do. If I get a chance to do more of them in the future, I don't want them to just be a picture of a sad person or an angry person. I want the whole picture, the whole drawing, to embody the feeling of the mood or expression that I'm drawing. And I want to challenge myself to do that, because I don't often do that, or I rarely do a whole picture based on an expression or a mood, and they are kind of really fun to do. And I wanted to be able to, I want to push myself to make them good pictures too. Like I really tried hard to get the anatomy and the perspective right on this dragon, and I was really proud of how it came out. So that's the kind of standard I wanted to be able to do with all of my expression pictures. But as I mentioned, I got busy, and these don't take a small amount of time if I'm actually trying to do a really good piece, especially if it's an expression or a shape or a angle that I'm not used to. They take me a lot longer. So I was a bit sad that I ran out of time. But as I said, maybe in the second half of the year it'll be a bit quieter and I'll be able to draw more of these. And I do have lots of different variety of characters I can do, so I won't just be doing dragons. I do actually have a bunch of human stories and like vampires, mermaids, and people, and dragons, and ponies. I have pony stories too. All these stories are just sitting in my head doing nothing really, just hanging out there, and I just think about them every now and then, and maybe I'll draw a character from them, but I don't often talk about them because I don't know, I feel kind of, it's one of those things you feel kind of embarrassed about it, or you feel like it's childish, or it's a simple story, or it's been all told before. But these stories, even if I don't talk about them, they bring me joy. Like, they just give me something to think about when there's nothing else to think about. And often when I think about them or play the stories out in my head, I then get inspired to draw pictures. Like, most of the drawings and characters I draw have come from stories I've been thinking about in my head, and then I get a scene or an idea, and then I want to draw it, and then I have to draw it. So I don't know, even if the story itself has kind of been done or not very good, I think they're still important. And if you enjoyed listening to me ramble about it, then I guess that's good too. At this stage, I was pretty much done with this sketch, and I was pretty happy with it. But as usual, when I go to actually shade it and add shadow and definition to the muscles and things, I realize some of it's wrong and doesn't make sense. So you will see me cutting up the sketch and moving things around. I think I even separate them onto different layers so I have freedom to move them around, because it just wasn't it looks good as a flat color, but when you start defining things, you suddenly realize that things don't fit together properly. Like adding shadows or form, it doesn't work if your line art isn't good. So yeah, you can see already I'm cutting things up and moving them around. I struggle with perspective, and I think I just decided that I'd put too much perspective on this and I needed to fix it so that I was happy with it. So yeah. Before I got really busy, I was actually thinking of offering discounted commissions to people who wanted the expressions, and you could choose to pay a higher price to pick the expression, or a cheaper price to roll randomly for the expression you get, and you could either choose one of my characters or one of your characters have it done. I thought that would be a cool idea, but unfortunately, if I'm really busy, I can't afford to do cheaper commissions, because if I'm not doing the other work that pays more and I do cheaper commissions instead, I just end up not eating as much. So I kind of sidelined that idea for now. But if people are generally interested in taking part in a expression challenge commission, then let me know, because if a lot of people are interested, then it might still work out okay. But we'll see how we go for the 15th time. Hopefully in the second half of this year I'll have some more time to do stuff like this, and if I do and I decide that it would be okay for me to take cheaper commissions to draw expressions, then I'll make sure I talk about it on here so you'll know about it. So I'm just working out my harsh lighting now. I did sort of struggle with this a little bit. Orange, reds, and yellows, they're just kind of hard for me to mix. Actually, red is my most hated color to shade. But I didn't actually use a lot of red here. It's mostly orange and yellows. Oh, there you go. There's a bit of red. and it just wasn't quite working right. I figured it out by the end, but there was a lot of mixing and going back and forth to try and get this harsh light right. And I always have to tread that line where I want the character to be in shadow, but if the character's in shadow, you can't see all the detail I spent like an hour drawing. So I sort of had to decide how dark I actually wanted the shadow and how much light I wanted to actually be shining through. And I think I found a pretty good balance. I did a bit of this backlighting here. I don't know where this blue light's coming from. The sky, I guess. The sky is blue. That's where the blue light is coming from. I just wanted something to sort of contrast all the orange in the picture and make the character pop a little bit more. So blue. I then actually shade the character itself. You'd think I would have done this first and then done the harsh lighting, but no. Anyway, I'm doing my super lazy shade here, which is, I have a multiply layer, which is actually completely white, and then I just get like a mid-tone grey, and I sloppily paint it where it should be in shadow, and I just press lighter or harder depending on how dark the shadows will be, or maybe I'll go over it with a bit of a dark color. Then I'll just get the smudge tool and I'll smudge it all in to make it nice and neat and smooth. And then if I want the shadow to be in color, which I always do, I'll create a color layer above it and choose the color and then merge it down, and now I have a colored shade layer that's pretty smooth. Without making the entire layer white, I find the smudge tool doesn't smudge as well. It's sort of like smudging with nothing, so it doesn't really mix, it's not mixing any colors, it's just trying to pull a color into nothingness. So that's my hot tip on shading at the moment, is white, multiply layer, and then shade with black or gray or whatever, and then use the smudge tool to make it all nice and smooth. And if you need to erase away some of the shadow, use white. You don't use the eraser, you use a white color to erase away where the shadow was, because on a multiply layer, white is nothing. Then once I was happy with my sloppy shade layer, I do actually just merge it onto the color layer, and now I'm actually just doing my old style paint, which is I'm just teardropping colors that have been made by the multiply layer and the flat color layer, and I'm just like adding more detail with the colors I'm teardropping. Maybe I'll push it lighter or darker in particular areas, and just keep painting over it with my brush, which I'm currently using the bamboo brush, which is the one I nearly always use, and smudging in areas with a felt smudge tool. And that's basically how I used to do all my pictures. I don't very often use this technique anymore because it's very time consuming, and most of the art I've been doing as late avatars that need to be done in a decent clip, so I don't have as much time to do this style, and it's not as efficient as my other style, but it does still produce my best results. So yeah, the hard way, the long way is still the best looking way, it just takes a lot longer. And I'm pretty much done with this now. I'm just adding some final light shines to this. Using the white shines on their tears really makes them happen. They really don't look like anything without those shines there. And I do add a little bit of veins to the wings for some realism in my not very realistic picture. And then I add in my focus blur, which I like to do. I like to draw your attention to a specific place. You're not allowed to look elsewhere. Don't look at the rest of the picture. Only look at the point in which I want you to look. So I kind of force that by blurring it. Anyway, here's my finished sobbing Wings of Fire character drawing for my expression challenge. Thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I do have a Patreon if you'd like to support me. Thanks again, and we'll see you all next time. Bye!